The Pope might be one of the most famous people in the entire world. He is a person of great status and is well respected by the largest part of the world. Especially in Catholic countries, he is greatly admired. Being this famous gives the Pope authority and a big platform to inspire the world with his words of great wisdom. However, it also puts a big spotlight on everything he does. There is barely anything the Pope can do without people making a picture or noticing it. And that is exactly what this story is about. The Pope did something that shocked people from all over the world, and he did not even try to hide it. It was a cloudy day, but that didn't stop thousands of people to join a big crowd of people who all wanted to catch a glimpse of the Pope. It was the first time that the Pope visited this particular city. When you see a crowd of people, it is hard to spot individuals. But at one point, the Pope halted the parade. He noticed something in the crowd to which he felt he had to respond. He saw a man and a woman with their baby girl. They lifted up their child so the Pope could clearly see her. He reached towards the girl and kissed her on the head, all while several cameras were filming and photographing this peculiar moment. But why? So many questions. But to understand this moment and its significance better, some backstory is required. Before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. The Masciantonios were a happy, devoutly Catholic family. They wanted nothing more than to have a close family with a few children. So, they started trying to get pregnant. However, for one reason or another, Joey and Kirsten weren't lucky. They wondered what may be wrong. As far as doctors could tell, there was nothing wrong with either Joey or Kirsten. The couple was simply encouraged to keep trying. They tried for a long time, so when they found out Kirsten was pregnant, the couple was thrilled. The good news was incredible, but how long would the happiness last? When she was born, baby Gianna was the picture of beauty to her parents. They could not believe their blessings as they held the tiny miracle in their arms. But little did they know, this happiness would soon be short-lived. Soon the doctor would come with very sad news. At just 4 weeks old, Gianna was due for a checkup. The couple took Gianna back to the hospital for her visit. But on this visit, their lives would change dramatically. And it all began with the doctor asking them if they were aware of any hereditary illnesses within either family. The couple was puzzled. They stared at the doctor. It wasn't something they had put much thought into before. They sat for a moment before finally coming up with a list. They wrote it down and provided it to the doctor. But first, there was something that they needed to know. The young couple wanted to know, what are the odds? The doctor stared for a moment before explaining, well, it depends. He went on to explain that each illness came with its own probability, and some were far more common or rare than they had expected. The Masciantonios had no idea what this would mean for them. After speaking with the doctor, the couple was advised to run a few tests to eliminate any worries they may have. At first, the couple was concerned. How would this affect the baby? But after further explanation, they agreed to run the tests. Ultimately, this would change the course of their lives. The Masciantonios never realized that something was off about their newborn baby. Gianna looked to be the vision of health. And why would they think otherwise? To them, she was their perfect baby girl. But when the doctors took a look at the infant, they did not like what they saw at all. The couple came in on a separate day to run the tests. It took a short period, but it felt like hours to the young concerned parents. Both of them worried that they might receive results they could not handle. What would they do if the results came back with something serious? The family's doctor's heart sank after he read the test results. He had no idea how to tell the new parents what he had just discovered, but he knew that he had to do so, and quickly. He called the parents and asked if they would visit his practice. He wanted to tell the news in person. Both Kirsten and Joey were worried about the baby's health. Nothing had gone wrong since the day of the test. However, the phone call worried them. Usually, a phone call was enough when the doctors delivered good news. Besides, their doctor had sounded worried on the phone. They prayed and hoped for the best. The doctor informed the Masciantonios that Gianna had juvenile xantha granula. This is a skin disorder which occurs in children under 1. The child will grow tumors around their head and neck. But to make things worse, Gianna was a rare case. The doctor explained what it meant for Gianna. A tumor had developed on her brainstem. Gianna's central nervous system was beginning to be affected by the tumor as well. So the doctors advised the couple to begin to make arrangements for Gianna's funeral. The news was devastating, but Joey and Kirsten knew they had to keep faith. In the weeks following Gianna's diagnosis, strange symptoms began to appear. Each time her parents, Joey and Kirsten, contacted the doctor, they were told it was a new side effect and another prescription followed. Though devastated, the young couple refused to give up. Instead of preparing for the worst, they pursued aggressive chemotherapy. Against all odds, it helped for a while. Gianna made it through her first 15 months, but doctors warned the tumor on her brainstem remained dangerous. Each day could be her last. Despite the grim prognosis, Joey held on to hope. Then, something unexpected happened. News that lifted his spirits. Pope Francis was coming to America. As devout Catholics, the Masciantonios believed this was a sign. When they learned the Pope would visit Philadelphia, within driving distance, the family felt a spark of hope. Could this be the miracle they were waiting for? But doubt crept in. The city would be packed, and getting close to the Pope seemed impossible. Still, fate intervened. A friend of the family, Donnie Asper, an FBI agent assigned to the Pope's security detail, called and encouraged them to attend. He knew Gianna's story and wanted to help. Even with Donnie's support, Joey was hesitant. He feared the crowded streets might worsen Gianna's condition. He consulted their doctors, who reassured him nothing they did would make things worse. So, Joey and Kirsten packed up and made the trip to Philly. Miraculously, what should have been a long, traffic-heavy drive took only 30 minutes. Then, they found a rare parking spot and made their way to the parade route, front and center. They couldn't believe their luck. Pushing through the crowd, Joey held Gianna high, praying they'd be seen. Just then, Domenico Gianni, the Pope's chief of security, scanned the crowd and spotted the baby. He gently took Gianna from Joey's arms and brought her to the Pope. With reverence and care, Pope Francis kissed Gianna on the head. After Pope Francis gently kissed baby Gianna's forehead, she was returned to her parents. It was a small gesture, quiet, simple, but what followed defied explanation. Just days later, the Masciantonios returned for Gianna's next round of chemotherapy. She completed 2 more treatments, and although she seemed to be hanging on, nothing miraculous had happened yet. Then came her next MRI. Doctors didn't expect much improvement, but when the scans came in, they were stunned. The tumor had stopped growing. No, it had shrunk. Looking at the scans, they could hardly believe their eyes. The mass that once threatened her life was barely visible. It was a medical mystery. Joey and Kirsten were speechless. After months of despair, hope surged in their hearts. The doctors rechecked the scans, but the results were clear. Gianna's tumor was nearly gone. It was nothing short of a miracle. They compared the current MRI to older ones, and the difference was staggering. The tumor, once prominent on the images, had vanished into a faint haze. Some doctors couldn't even locate it anymore. It was as if they were looking at an entirely different child. The Masciantonios were overwhelmed. The very trip they had hesitated to take, driving to see the Pope, had changed everything. And then came the greatest news of all. Gianna, once considered terminal, would live a healthy, normal life. From being told their daughter only had days to live to watching her beat the odds, Joey and Kirsten could barely hold back their tears. Asked how they explained the recovery, the couple had only one answer: the Pope's blessing. Her mother, Kristen, called it God's work. The only difference between Gianna's previous MRI and this one was the kiss she received from His Holiness. They were already devout, but now their faith was stronger than ever. Gianna was living proof that miracles exist. Today, Gianna is a joyful 3-year-old, full of life. Her smile lights up every room she walks into, and her parents are beyond grateful. Still, Joey and Kirsten knew this miracle wasn't solely divine. They remembered the doctors who never gave up, who worked tirelessly to keep their daughter alive. To show their appreciation, the Massiantonio family donated $50,000 to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. "What they did for Gianna can't be repaid with money," said Joey, "but we wanted to give back in some way and help other children too." Gianna is still too young to understand everything she's been through. One day she'll know how close she came to death, and how faith, determination, and care gave her a second chance. Her story is a powerful reminder that even when the odds seem impossible, hope, action, and faith can make the unthinkable possible. The Massiantonios did everything in their power to save their daughter, and it paid off.